Welcome to another end of year update here on Weekly 50. I have done these updates every year for a little while now, and I always appreciate the opportunity to pause, take a step back, and look at some of the things from the past year that I want to point out and talk about my goals for the coming year. So here we are, and here we go. First of all, I want to take a minute and say thank you to everyone who takes part in our Weekly 50 community. Whether you look at every picture every week or just check back from time to time, whether you read every post, listen to every audio, or just take a quick peek at the image and go on with your day. Whether you leave comments and engage with others, or just think about the pictures on your own, no matter how you engage with the Weekly 50 community, you are all a valuable part of Weekly 50, and I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you, everyone. I also want to talk a little bit about my goals for 2022 and see how I did. A year ago, I said I wanted to learn to use my macro lens more, get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and maybe pick up a new camera too. So how did I do? I definitely learned a lot more about using my macro lens. I still feel like I'm just barely scratching the surface, but I think I have a much better handle on how to use the macro lens to shoot pictures and capture interesting subjects that just happen to be very, very small. It's still a huge learning curve, and there's far more that I don't know compared to what I do know, but it's a fun learning experience and I'm enjoying it immensely. I didn't quite reach my goal of 1,000 YouTube subscribers, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter if I have 1,000 or only one. I don't do Weekly 50 for some kind of quantifiable metric of success. It's all about personal growth as a photographer. And who knows? Maybe I'll get a few more subscribers in 2023, maybe not. It's all good either way. It doesn't matter. And as for a new camera, nope, I didn't get that either. I actually have my eye on a camera that doesn't exist yet. It's the Nikon Z6 III. The current Z6 II looks great, but it's a few years old at this point, and I'm thinking Nikon is likely going to come out with the Z6 III at some point. And if they do, that's the camera that I'd like to get. Until then, all my DSLRs are working just fine, and I'm in no big rush to upgrade. But I know what you're probably all here for, and that's my rundown of my 3 favorite shots from the past year. So let's get to it. Third place is this shot of a high school senior playing his guitar. I took this during a senior photo session I did for a client, and what makes it my third most favorite shot of the year is that it allowed me to put so much of what I've learned about photography and macro photography to use in a really fun and practical way. Most of my photos I take just for myself or my family, but here was a shot that I got paid to take, and it would simply not have been possible without taking the time to learn so much about macro photography over the past several months, and photography in general over the past several years. And the cool thing was, I didn't set out to take this shot when I went to do the senior photo session. I saw an opportunity, I knew that I had the knowledge, the experience, and camera gear to make it happen, and I was able to pull it off. And it wasn't just really fun, it was super rewarding, and it felt personally validating. Like I really do know what I'm doing sometimes. My second place shot for 2022 is this picture I took almost a year ago of a Christmas ornament close-up. I like pretty much everything about this picture. The colors of the ornament, the colors of the background, the reflection below the ornament, the depth of field that's so shallow the figure's eyes are in focus, but the tree, which is less than an inch behind it, is not. And I also like what it represents. One of my first steps in creating compelling close-up shots. Everything in this image was artificially constructed. Nothing was done but just by chance, and it was a super fun learning experience for me when I made this happen. If Weekly 50 is all about learning and growth, then this shot represents the best of what that's all about. Finally, my shot of the year for 2022, and it's not a macro photo. To this day, I can hardly believe I was able to capture this shot. And I'm so glad I was in the right place at the right time with the right camera gear and the right knowledge of photography and light and composition and focal length and ISO and aperture and shutter to take this photo. My family and I have been to this spot at the top of Mount Scott here in Oklahoma several times over the years, but never in conditions like this. The wind had been blowing like crazy all day long, filling the atmosphere with dust from the months-long dry spell we were going through, and the result was a thick haze that lent an otherworldly feeling to the entire scene. I love the rich colors of the sunset, the mountains receding into the background, and the barely perceptible texture of the trees in front. You can't fake a shot like this, and there's only a few spots in Oklahoma where you could even attempt a shot like this. I'm just glad that my family and I were fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time for me to capture a shot that I'm truly proud of. So in other words, 2022 has been an amazing year, photographically speaking, that is. I've learned a ton about taking macro photos, and if there's one goal I have for 2023, it's to continue to refine my techniques and learn new things too. I've only just begun to play around with focus stacking, and I'd like to do more shots of animals this year too, like bugs and insects, spiders, things like that. I thought I would get more opportunities in 2022 for those types of photos, But for whatever reason, it just never quite happened. And maybe I'll pick up another camera or lens in 2023 also, who knows. So that about does it for this year's video update. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being part of the Weekly 50 community. I'd love to hear from you though. What are your goals for photography in 2023? Are there things that you've been struggling with that you hope to finally accomplish? Is there a new technique you want to try? Do you have burning photography questions you hope to finally get answered? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And whatever happens, I hope that the new year is a good one for you and your loved ones. So thank you, God bless you, and may He make His face shine on you now and always.